How do you do, fellow kids? It is I, JT, aka someone you've never heard of before. On the eve of episode 9, I wanted to finally record my thoughts about the sequel trilogy. I wanted this recording to act as a time capsule so I could compare my thoughts before and after the release of the new movie. I want to start out with a prediction. And I've had this prediction since 2017 after I saw The Last Jedi. I predict that in episode 9 we'll have a new revelation about Rey's parentage, but I hope that it doesn't retcon The Last Jedi. And here's what I mean by that. In The Last Jedi, Rey says that her parents are nobody, and I believe that she means that literally, meaning that she is a child of the Force. Now, Kylo goes on to describe her parents as being filthy junk traders who sold her to Unkar Plutt. And I think he's correct because I think that he's describing her adopted parents, and this is something that that actually happened to her. Her adopted parents were not her biological parents, and therefore, they didn't value her. Maybe she had some quirky Force powers that freaked them out. So anyway, that's my idea, and I'm actually wondering if that's going to make some Last Jedi fans mad, because there seemed to be a huge emphasis on the idea that Rey's origin wasn't significant. But I do think that was what Rian Johnson intended. And if you think about the cave scene where she wants to see her parents revealed to her, and in the reflection it's only her, I think this theory aligns with that storyline. But I guess we'll see. And if I'm right, this will seem like a big spoiler, and if I'm wrong, it'll just seem like mumbo jumbo. So. I'm interested to see if what they do with that, or if they do anything with that, if it's even addressed. But anyway, going back to my thoughts about the sequel trilogy, I think that The Force Awakens leaned too heavily on nostalgia. I think that's been its main criticism, and I'd have to agree with that. But it established a theme of Star Wars revival, and The Last Jedi teased a renaissance with the end of the Jedi. And with that would come a new landscape for the Star Wars universe. But by the end of the movie, we were back to Rey being a Jedi, and nothing really new was established. And my biggest problem with the new saga films is that it doesn't seem to establish a foundation for the future of the franchise. They simply seem to exist to close out the saga, which is frustrating because on multiple occasions, it seemed like they approached that line but never crossed it. Unlike other Jedi who went into isolation, Luke sought out the original Jedi Temple, and the stage was set for Luke to add to Jedi lore, but Ahch-To simply served as a setting for Luke's character exploration. There's another missed opportunity to incorporate the prequels, and we get a Darth Sidious name drop, but I think that The Last Jedi fails to mention what I perceive to be the biggest error of the Jedi. Luke mentions that the biggest failing of the Jedi was hubris. I agree that the Jedi were hubristic, but I don't think that was their main failing, because you could draw a through line from the prequel trilogy to the original trilogy and connect it to the sequel trilogy by identifying the biggest failing of the Jedi as the insistence that Jedi could have no attachments. This is literally what drove Anakin to the dark side, and I think it would have been very poignant for Luke to establish that it was his connection and devotion to his friends and father that strengthened his abilities in the Force. And that would also carry forward with Rey's devotion and connection to her friends who have become her new family. I wish that Disney would commit to a forward-moving storyline, no more anthology films that jump from time period to time period, and no more prequels. Get a consistent creative team who can outline an epic 5 to 10 film saga. And I think that would really create a lot of strength for, the forward momentum of Star Wars. And I think by going back and revisiting, the time period between episode 3 and 4 has really kind of put the brakes on that forward momentum. In 2015, there was a rumor that episode 7 was going to be a bridge to the new trilogy, episodes 8, 9, and 10, and that standalone movie would establish the state of the galaxy, introduce the new characters, and say farewell to the legacy characters. That rumor turned out to not be true, but I think I would have preferred that structure. Now, looking forward to the Rise of Skywalker, I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope we can get a fun adventure that ties the previous films together, but based on what I've seen, it looks like we're starting over with a new storyline. But whatever happens, Star Wars will continue, and they haven't lost me as a fan yet.